Welcome to the Cloud Council. I'm Don Polaniki, and today we're going to be talking about data-led business modernization. And I'm delighted to be joined by Graham Hackland, Group CIO of Rocket Williams Racing. So now let's turn to your questions. So the question is, it must be hard to get the team to spend on IT when racing is expensive. What advice do you have for winning an investment case?
Yes, and this is where it comes back to, we talked a little around ROI. So if I wanted some money to buy a drone and play with a drone around our factory in Grove, and because I thought it would be a really cool thing to do, or maybe there's a new weather station that we might want to put at the track and see whether we can get more accurate weather information, but the odds of it delivering are relatively low because it's new technology and we don't know, or it's just something for fun like a drone. I'm not even going to ask for that. Never mind, I'm not going to get the funding. So the only time we go for funding approval is when we've satisfied ourselves within the project team, and the project team will include people from IT and people from the part of the organization that are making the request, are satisfied that it will contribute to car performance. And look, so sometimes that's things that are not that obvious. It could be a well-being project within HR, because if our people are well and are happy and are able to operate, then they are going to contribute to car performance. So it's not just as simple as if this is a piece of carbon fiber, then it will contribute to car performance. There are a lot of projects that we do around business continuity or risk avoidance, around people, because the two biggest assets I think any organization have are their people and their data. And so making sure that people can be happy at work and can operate is just as important as buying the next gadget or whatever, and making sure that people have an appropriate device to work on. And if you're sitting in front of a computer for 12 hours doing design work, we want them to be as comfortable in the 11th and 12th hour as they were in the first hour. So, but that's how we build the business case. And so it's been very focused. And I used to talk about when we apply for funding, we're taking money away from the car, but actually, I've changed my thinking. We're actually making a contribution to the car. So it may be that the decision is we're not going to buy these brakes. We're going to instead buy this piece of software that's a new strategy system that we're going to develop. But because there's a trade-off, both of those things will bring performance to the car. One, we think is going to bring 0.1 of a second, and the new strategy system is going to get us 2 seconds because we'll be able to get our pit stops right, or we'll be the fastest pit crew and we'll be able to overtake 2 people. So actually, we're not taking money away from the car. We're making an intelligent decision based on what's going to add the most performance to the car. And I know that's tricky for a lot of organizations, right? So it might feel like it's easy for Formula One. You've got a Formula One car, that's your focus. When I talk to CIOs, I say to them, what's your equivalent of making the car quicker? What's your there's so many things that CIOs have to think of, but what's your mission? What's your company's ultimate goal? What are you trying to do? You're trying to get to market in a certain speed. There are things that you can equate to making the car go quicker. Focus your money on those things, and you'll get board approval when you can show in their language that you are making a contribution to whatever their equivalent of make the car quicker is.
Yeah, it's a great analogy. I will remember it. One other question here. I know this one is close to your heart, Graham. What tips do you have for sectors or businesses that may not appeal to STEM candidates to get them to reconsider your industry?
Yeah, so in Formula One, that has been an issue, especially around diversity, right? So let's cards on the table. Bringing young women into engineering, has been tricky, and Formula One is seen as a male-dominated sport, and that is changing. And for Williams, and one of the things I'm personally passionate about, but certainly for Williams, we want the best people in our organization. We are going to win by bringing the best people in. And often it means going into a school and inspiring the young women in that school. We have some amazing female leadership in our organization. And every now and then we ask them to talk about what it's like for them, what Formula One's like. You see the engineer sitting on the pit wall or the driver. We have no female drivers in Formula One at the moment. At Williams, we have a female driver in our roster, but there are no drivers driving the races at the moment in Formula One. And that will come, I think, because young female drivers are getting opportunities now. The W Series came along, which really raised the profile of at least 10 of the leading female drivers in that series now have regular races in other sports. But for a young girl in a school, perhaps being the driver is not the thing that they want to do. And I'll give you a personal example. So my oldest daughter spent a week at Williams on one of these taste programs that we have. So we have about 1,000 young people come through our factory every year. Not this year with what's going on, but they come through our factory and they get to experience all different aspects of it. And this taster week is every day you spend a day in a different department. So she got to be in the clean room making carbon fiber. She got to be in the wind tunnel and making parts for the model. And she spent a day in procurement. And every day, when we were driving home, I was asking what her favorite was. And at the end of the week, I said, "What was your favorite day?" And she actually said it was the day she spent in procurement. She said, because when I watched the Canadian Grand Prix, the carbon fiber that's being used on that car, today I bought that carbon fiber. And that, again, just really impressed upon me that the role that every single person in a team plays, for what we do, for going racing. And so there is a place for everyone. And that's the really important thing. You don't have to be someone who wants to sit on the pit wall, because again, there's only 4 engineers sitting on the pit wall. There are so many people in a Formula One team in so many different roles that make a contribution to that Formula One car. I'm really proud of the group that we've got in IT and across the whole organization of young people who are really passionate about technology. Because I think if you love technology, Formula One is an amazing environment to be operating in, because it doesn't stand still. Every year we're totally reinventing ourselves, trying new technology, adapting, and so we put a lot of time and effort into finding the best people, growing the best people from the ground up. And so STEM is really important to us at Williams, and we do our best to encourage and to make opportunities for young women, young men, get the best people regardless.
Graham, thank you very much indeed again for joining me this week for the Cloud Council, being such an entertaining guest, and best of luck for the season. Thank you to all the viewers for being with us this week. You can find more business and IT advice at nutanix.com/CXO, and I'll see you next time.